Hello friends, today for the first video, I have decided to begin with the modern poet Stephen Spender's first and wonderful fascinating poem, The Express, in which he shares his emotion and experience regarding the express train, which in this poem symbolizes the industrial revolution in itself. So before directly jumping over to the poem, let's be friendly with Mr. Stephen Spender, whose full name is actually Sir Stephen Harold Spender, who was born in 1909 and was a brilliant English poet, novelist, and essayist whose work concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle. He was appointed Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965 and was awarded the Golden Pen Award in 1995. He co-founded the Horizon magazine with Cyril Connolly and served as its editor from 1939 to 1941. He was editor of Encounter magazine from 1953 to 1966. Spender's book of poetry include basically 20 poems 1930, Vienna 1934, The Still Center 1939, Poems of Dedication 1946 and The Generous Day 1971. So let's start with the poem. We will move para by para and I'll explain to you what the poet wants to convey. So let's begin reading the poem first, then explanation. So, after the first powerful plain manifesto, the black statement of pistons without more fuss but gliding like a queen, she leaves the station. Without bowing and with restrained unconcern, she passes the houses which humbly crowd outside, the gas works, and at last the heavy page of death printed by gravestones in a cemetery. Here, what the poet wants to convey that after the announcement is made of train's leave, the black statement of pieces, that is the express train itself, leaves the station without much noise, silently gliding like a queen, totally unconcerned in the surrounding, with full pride in herself, without bowing to anyone, with no concerns of any restraints. She passes the houses and crowds outside, the gas works of industries, and finally the cemetery passage full of graves that reminds of death to speaker. There is the reference to World War II, which led to killings all around. So in the very beginning of the poem, he has introduced us to the great express, which he thinks it as a queen. So in the next para, from line 8 to 10th, he says, beyond the town there lies the open country, where, gathering speed, she acquires mystery, the luminous self-possession of ships on ocean. Now, the train leaves the town and enters into an open country, the countryside, the village, which we all are familiar with, where she gathers speed and now seems mysterious to the poet. Paradox is there because the speaker is totally unfamiliar with countryside, and when the express enters the village area, it becomes mysterious. And how it can be possible? Because the poet maybe was a city dweller who was being brought up in the industries, in the life of noise, pollution, all over, with no birds, with no sign of greenery. So when the train actually entered into a countryside, it seems to the poet that she is mysterious, because the train is not at all mysterious. The poet is mysterious to the country world. He is totally unknown to the village life of people. Here there is a satire over the city dwellers who are totally familiar with the apartments, with the buildings, but when someone asks about them, about the village life, they are totally like, they feel them it like as exotic place. They totally become unaware of it. So, the train now seems to be a ship in the ocean which is self-possessed and is shining. The poet first compares it as a queen, which also means something elite. Now, he is comparing it as a ship on an ocean. Like the queen who has no restraints, the ship in a wide ocean also is limitless. She here is self-possessed and is shining. Okay. So here also he here has glorified the train. It is now she begins to sing, at first quite low, then loud, and at last with jazzy madness. The song of her whistle screaming at curves, of deafening tunnels, breaks innumerable bolts. From now, what has happened that the whistle of the express, it seems to the speaker that the train itself is singing like a girl, because here he has used the word she, not at all it. He has personified the train here, because for him the train is not something simple, something usual. The train itself is very great to him, due to which the whistle of the train, the sound of the whistle of the train, it sounds like a singing of a girl to him. He explains the singing. There is a very beautiful imagery here of a singing, that her sound first sounds to him very quite low. Obviously, we have heard the singing of the whistle of a train, that when the train proceeds, her sound is very low. She makes a very slow whistle. And then when she was about to leave, the sound becomes loud. And at last, when she actually gains the speed, her sounds become very vast. She like screaming, a very huge amount, loud. So it seems like a girl is singing at a very low pitch, then loud, and then at last with a jazzy madness, which means quite very excitingly, very happily, with great enthusiasm. Okay. So, and now, the song of the whistle, it seems to the poet as screaming at curves. Okay, means that from low pitch to high, and because it is in the countryside, the voice of the whistle is very high and loud, because there is peace here. Whereas in the cities, the sound of industries outdid the sound of express, seems deafening the tunnels with huge voice notes, and not only tunnels but brakes and innumerable bolts also. Such is the sound of train in countryside. Here is another viewpoint which you can include in your notes also, that with industrial revolution, the cities are polluted with noise and village life is totally unaffected by it. But now, the express train is making noise, and thus village life also gets polluted. It can pollute the village life also. So, there are 2 points of view. So, next we will proceed from 15th to 16th line. And always light, aerial underneath goes the elate meter of her wheels. Here he wants to say that due to gathering speed, the express train's wheels seems as light, aerial and elating meters of a wheel. Obviously, when someone gains speed, the train when gains speed, we feel that we are getting more light. It is the same experience that here also he has tried to personify the train as a human being. Okay. Then from line 17 to 20th, he is saying, steaming through metal landscape on her lines, she plunges new eras of wild happiness, where speed throws up strange shapes, broad curves, and parallel clean like the steel of guns. The train now streams through the landscape of metal on her lines, and during this course, she plunges a new era of industrialization, the metal landscape and not the natural landscape. Here the thing is to be noticed, that this is a poem of post-war poetry. Obviously, the poem was published in 1939, and that era was a like modern romantic era. So he has included all the features of the romantics, but in a new modern way. Instead of the natural landscape of greenery, flowers, birds, here is a metal landscape of parallel railroads. And the word, she plunges new eras of wild happiness, has 2 meanings here. How? The first of all, the meaning. The happiness of entering into the new era of industrial revolution, where there will be progress, there will be machinery, there will be lots of production, and people will get what they want. So, and the second is from the point of view of the train, that how now the train has entered into the countryside. Okay, and while entering into the countryside, the train is singing in her jazzy madness, and she is free, she is acquiring her speed, she is feeling light, aerial, and elate meter of her wheels, she is feeling all about it. And due to which, it is the train, she who is plunging into the wild era of wild happiness. It is the happiness of the train who is feeling very happy, excited while entering into the countryside. So, in the very first meaning, it is a glorification of the industrial revolution, and the second is it points out to the light, it points light on the second topic, that how even entering into the countryside the train is feeling happy. So what would happen to the man who has lived all his life into the city? That's the point here. He is looking at the circumstances from every point of view, and that is the great thing about this poem. So from line 21st to 24, he is saying, at last, further than Edinburgh or Rome, beyond the crest of the world she reaches night, where only a low streamlined brightness of phosphorus on the tossing hills is white. Finally, from Edinburgh or Rome, crossing all the limits of the horizon, beyond the crest of the world, she reaches night, where from her headlight gleams a streamlined brightness of phosphorus, not of moon, but rather an artificial light on the hills. Here also, he has transformed from the traditional romantic poetry to the modern one. Because instead of the light of the moon, which all the romantics have praised by saying so much about it, now in the modern era, there is the low streamlined brightness of phosphorus, which is lightning over the hills. Okay, and the train, the phrase beyond the crest of the world also has two meanings, because beyond the crest of the world, that the train has no limitations, she is reaching all her heights. And the second is about the industrial revolution also, because with the invention of the railway, the industries are going to prosper as much as they can. Okay, so there is the two meanings in this phrase. Now finally, with 25th to 27th line, he is saying, like a comet through flame she moves in trance, wrapped in a music no bird song, no nor bow, breaking with honey birds shall ever equal. Now again he is comparing her with something grand, something elite, that is a comet. Now the light, the low streamlined brightness of phosphorus that was flickering through the torchlight of the train's headlight, it seems to the poet that she is a comet, because she has her speed, she is gathering speed, she is quite fast, and the light she is having, the torchlight or the headlight of the train, we can say, she is looking like to him a comet through flame. She moves in trance. Now she is entering her again wrapped in her music. She is singing, and here the whistle of the you can say the trains. The train's whistle is here compared with a bird singing. Now, being a modern romantic, that was the quite ultimate point where a romantic can go. The birds whom the traditional romantics have glorified the most, that these are the creatures whom nature has created to create sweet music for the humans. But now he has reached the ultimate by comparing the sound of the birds with that of the train. He is saying that the sound of the train's whistle is more melodious to the bird singing. Here in the night, no bird is singing, obviously, because there is pollution. There is all the machine voice, and obviously we all know that even today, where there is all the industries, there is very few, very few birds remains. And here also, because of all the pollution, the birds are not here, due to which the sound of the train's whistle seems more melodious to the poet than the bird singing. Okay. So hence, this is all about how the poetic persona feels about the express. So in the next video, I'll continue with this poem only, and we will discuss the critical analysis of the poem. So stay tuned, and if you understood all the poem well and liked my way of explaining it, so please like this video, comment if some improvements are needed, and if you have some suggestions for it, and subscribe for regular updates. Thank you all.